dito yung, say, J, we have to lay the predicate muna before you go to the squad. Okay? Which I think ikaw yung nag-coin ng term na yun eh. So parang yun ngayon yung yun yung hot potato ngayon na term. Okay? Now, yung foundation niyan would be yung bilaterals. Okay? Yung bilateral engagements natin with the US, with Australia, at with Japan. Yun muna. I will look at yung, siguro, if you look at yung readouts, yung result ng ating bilateral security dialogue between the Philippines and the United States. Then yung 2+2 with the Philippines and Japan. Very, very solid na yung foundation nun. Then we move towards yung trilateral, yung US, Japan, tsaka Philippines. Medyo maganda rin yung grounding doon. It started off within the militaries, AFP, into PACOM, tsaka yung Joint Self-Defense Force ng Japan, no? Then naging, I think last year, it was among the National Security Advisors. Then of course, yung pinaka-culmination niyan would be yung Trilateral Summit in Washington, D.C. So yun yung grounding muna nun. Okay? Then yung sa Hawaii, na meeting was yung squad na. Okay? Pumasok na si Australia dun sa discussion. But if we deconstruct all those bilaterals and trilaterals, meron na siyang nahubog na yung yung laman nun. Kasi it cannot be just parang photo op lang yung 4 na defense ministers na picture taking o yung
may groundwork na, may groundwork.
Pero may solid may solid commitments na yung mga powers na yon, major and middle powers, with respect to yung engagement nila sa atin sa Pilipinas. Okay? So ang kagandahan dito, kung titingnan mo, this is supposed to be a security engagement. Okay? But kung titingnan mo yung laman, yung substance ng commitments, 50% is security and 50% is actually economic in nature. For a security dialogue. And that is very surprising. That means there is a recognition that it cannot be, yung engagement natin cannot be all security. Okay? Kailangan merong palaman dyan na economic engagement.
Comprehensive, strategic. Yeah.
Okay? So if I am to look at yung pinaka-major takeaway natin doon sa Trilateral Summit sa Washington, D.C., that would be yung Luzon Economic Corridor. That would be a major take. Then nakatak-in na rin yung civil nuclear energy engagement. Okay, yung chips, yung sa semiconductor industry. Those are add-ons na actually are more important than the security one. Okay? Kasi yung security, natin yan, nakikamada na natin yan, nailatag na natin yan, very robust na yan. Okay. So, yung squad, I think is a new development. But ang nakita ko dito, among the four, among the three, medyo yung commitment between the Philippines and Australia, siguro yun yung medyo titingnan natin na maganda yung yung relationship natin with Australia in terms of bilateral. But on the context of yung squad, nung tinitingnan ko yung discussion, it was more of ang lumalabas it was a statement of support and commitment to assist the Philippines with respect to yung South China Sea problem natin, yung concerns natin. So hindi siya kasing substantive nung yung trilateral with the US and Japan.
Yung JAFUS, what I call JAFUS.
Yeah, which you also coined in JAFUS. And yung bilaterals natin, Philippine-US and Philippine-Japan. So there. Okay.
I do agree with you, Admiral, on that point in terms of hindi ito photo op lang, hindi lang for the gram to. A lot of groundwork was there. I mean, ang basa ko rin dito, Admiral, is that it's also kind of a catch-up time, di ba? Kasi ang basa ko dito, kung hindi siguro si Digong na naging presidente natin, let's say any other naging kandidato nung 2016, any other normal person naging presidente, I think something like squad would have had happened way earlier, no? Whether it's under Trump or Biden.
Well, actually, yung trilateral was already pinag-uusapan na within the militaries, within the armed forces, even yung time ni former President Duterte pa. But it was something that was under the radar. Alam mo naman dahil iba yung context na, iba yung
course.
focus on. So it was something under the radar and there was a quiet conversation on this. Nothing substantive. Kumbaga basic principles, what can we do,
Pakiramdaman lang, pakiramdaman lang.
tama.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Admiral, going back to this, okay, let's talk, let's go brass tacks. What are we realistically looking at here? Okay, so joint patrols, more joint patrols, quadrilateral patrols in South China Sea, maybe. I mean, more intelligence sharing, but in terms of capacity building, I mean, anong pwedeng concretely na gagawin itong tatlong bansa na yan to make the squad relevant in the context of the disputes we'll discuss later on, especially itong Scarborough, Ayungin Shoal. But big picture muna, I mean, what are the things that we can expect from the squad that could, kasi let's be honest, Philippines is the weak link, right? Sobrang weakest link tayo. Medyo malayo yung gap eh. I mean, US obviously superpower, but Australia and Japan are full-fledged middle power. The Philippines is still kind of a new-ish middle power, if I can put it charitably. What are the things that we can get out of this? Because if I remember, Lloyd Austin, the U.S. Defense Secretary, said deterrence is something important that they discussed. So in terms of deterrence, anong pwedeng gawin ng tatlo na yan to deter China in terms of its aggressiveness sa West Philippine Sea?
Okay, siguro low-hanging fruit, no? And speaking from a former Navy person, shipbuilding capability, shipbuilding capacity. That is something that we need to work on. And yung foundations naman lang shipbuilding capability, meron na tayo before. But we need infusion of new technology, of course, capital investment. Yung problema natin sa West Philippine Sea ngayon is a capacity issue eh. And yung capacity is driven by we lack bottoms, or we lack yung ships for to match yung nila eh, yung match yung presence ng combined presence ng Navy, Coast Guard at militia ng China eh. Okay? So if we have that, we can work on developing yung domestic shipbuilding capability natin. We can produce sufficient bottoms, at least hindi naman to surpass, but at least yung merong modicum of parity, localized parity, yung natin. Pag nagkatunggali tayo sa dagat.
Now, in terms
of course.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was wondering, like, in terms of ISR, in terms of some missile systems, ano yung mga pinakamabilis na pwede nila ibigay sa Pilipinas just to a little bit enhance our deterrence capability? Is there something special that Japan or Australia can offer us aside from the United States?
Sa Japan, I'm not sure, no? Kasi I think ang tinitingnan natin are US systems eh. Kasi ang issue dito supply chain. Okay? You might let's say acquire the best rifle in the market. Okay? But if yung binili mo, yung spare parts niya hindi available locally, then you have to buy it from abroad. So that's a supply chain issue eh.
Kala ko buy it from Banawe.
Buy it from Banawe. But kasi yung supply more or less naka-built in na yung through yung foreign military funding with the US. So meron ng pipeline yon for logistics. So kung titingin tayo sa ibang systems, medyo magkakaproblema tayo sa supply chain.
Now, Admiral, I mean, speaking of capability building, I mean, the reason what I'm asking about this is because, again, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here in a sense that baka naman itong squad, it's true na hindi siya for the gram or for photo op lang, pero baka naman it just raises the diplomatic tensions without delivering the goods, right? Baka ang mangyari lang dito, it gives China more excuse to say, oh, tignan nyo, in-encircle kami. Tignan nyo, America, proxy war, Pilipinas, tumutulong sa proxy war. Di ba? Ito yung propaganda ng mga makapili. Di ba? Alam naman natin yung kalakaran. Na baka you're just giving propaganda ammunition and more pretext to China to be aggressive without doing what is necessary to actually help us on the ground. Yun ang concern ko dito. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but I'm saying you have to make sure na you're not creating noise and then hindi mo panindigan yan.
Okay. Number one, we should not believe in our own propaganda. Okay? So, let's do our homework. Sabihin, when we do this, when we do engage them and we have this relationship, merong a roadmap. Ano yung mo? Saan papunta yung itong usapan na to? Saan papunta itong engagement na to? Hindi yan pwede yung parang verbal lang na ano, then walang direksyon. So if you program it or plan it right, I think it will work out. Okay? But if yung short-sighted ka, mahihirapan talaga yan. Yung mangyayari, yung sinasabi mo, that would be the scenario na patahakin natin. And again, kung titingnan natin yung going by yung readouts of yung commitments in the several dialogues na nakita natin over the past year, very solid naman yung usapan doon. Ang ano doon is yung follow through. Okay, naisulat na, then meron din tayo responsibility, tayo yung Pilipinas, to also capacitate ourselves para i-absorb lahat yung commitments na yun. Otherwise, kahit ibuhos sa'yo yung supportang yun, tapos hindi ka prepared to absorb that type of support, magdi-dissipate yun.
What are the areas, and this is where again, amateurs talk and geopolitics, experts talk to logistics. No, are there something specific that you have in mind in terms of certain supply chains, in terms of defense acquisitions from the other Quad countries?
Okay, let's say for example, babalik tayo sa barko.
Right. Let's talk washer. Yeah.
Okay, yung tinransfer sa atin yung Hamilton class yung cutter from the US Coast Guard. You have to set up yung ecosystem to support yung logistics tsaka yung maintenance ecosystem to support that. Okay? So we prepared, the Navy prepared itself, pati yung tao that will do the maintenance and yung financial requirements para i-support yung activity na yon. Para pagka merong maintenance cycle, yung papasok sa maintenance cycle, kaya na-perform dito ng Navy, ng organization. Now, kung wala yon, that ship will deteriorate. Kasi wala kang set up na system to sustain it eh. Remember, parang ang bumili ng kotse, di ba, may tech manual yan eh. Tapos tatawagan ka nung dealer every 6 months, reminding you na mayroon kang progressive maintenance to follow. Now, kung wala yung system na yon, even if yung kotse mo bago, in 1 year's time, that will deteriorate if you do not follow the maintenance cycle. So that ecosystem is also transferable kung contextualize mo sa isang sa weapon system din.
Thank you for that, Admiral. Again, I mean, it's common sense, right? You're not going to buy a Ferrari kung wala kang pang maintenance and make sure my service center and all, right? This is a logic. Now, do you think that we're moving in the direction of creating that ecosystem? Let's say, I don't want to use the word industrial military complex. That would be a little bit too ambitious, pretentious. But is there any move in that regards from the JAFUS meeting, from the squad, from some of the statements coming out of DND, from the information you have? Meron ba tayong encouraging move on that front? Because I remember in the previous conversation, tinanong ko si Jay, and this is what I always ask my guests, no? Nagkakulang ba ang Amerika sa atin? I mean, they just gave 17 billion to Israel, 60 billion to Ukraine. They have been giving billions to Jordan, Pakistan, those kinds of countries na hindi naman nila alay or nowhere as close to the US. And then, of course, people always say, pero ang problema ng Pilipinas, back in the day, we had shiny American weapons, di naman natin na-maintain. This is, I don't know, 60s, 70s, whatever. So, are things changing in the right direction if we are moving towards getting more and more advanced weapon systems from our key allies?
Okay, nakita ko rito yung part of the ecosystem that we need to prepare is yung defense industry natin. Okay. Kasi hindi pwedeng hindi pwedeng armed forces or the Department of Defense lang eh. There are some things that the private sector is more efficient in performing. Okay? And papasok yan doon sa defense industry na And I think yung batas para doon still under development still under deliberation. So once matapos yun, I think then we have capacitated ourselves in terms of yung legal
framework. Di ba nakapasa tayo nung yung procurement law the other year? Hindi pa tapos na yan, Admiral? Parang 2022 pa. Enlighten me.
Different. Okay, procurement ganito yan eh. Under the current setup kasi natin, it is biased against a domestic industry.
Industry, yeah. More import.
Yung specification ng AFP modernization law, you have to have 3 other countries actually using a system na you're trying to acquire. So obviously, tanggal ka agad yung yung domestic mo na proponent kasi it doesn't exist yet eh. Okay? So yung bias na yon should be corrected. Kasi we can look at yung low-end type of equipment na pwedeng support ng future domestic industry natin.
I mean, all you have to do is, diba, to put except in conditions where you want to develop the weapon system yourself. Diba, dagdagan mo lang. Kasi gets ko naman sinasabi na 3 countries kasi you want to make sure you don't buy mumbo-jumbo weapons.